now if we just focus on those kinds of junglers coming into play. But we're finally seeing the draft. We are going to start, and as of the moment, I'm surprised to see that a lot of the focus is actually going to be on the roamers. It's the Mathilda, Atlas, and the Marcel that have been taken out of the options for now. So this makes room for a lot of the previous priorities. I think I'm a bit iffy about seeing the Juicin Prio though. Do you agree with me? Like, do you feel the nerf on the Juicin?
Personally, as a Juicin player, sometimes I feel it, sometimes I don't. It really depends.
Really?
Like if I'm still up against a composition that's very melee oriented, like the Baxias of the world, the Fredrins of the world, the range diff to her skill is not as bad.
Really?
It's not as bad. But that's why I feel like coming into the draft, it's going to be interesting because we've been talking about how perhaps the assassins will come up in popularity, but so far these bans don't really indicate that, right? The Matilda being banned out. Obviously, the Matilda has been such a great support hero for the junglers in the tank. So either this is them knowing something that they know that we don't know about each other, or it's still kind of centering around the tank junglers.
Yeah, I'm trying to make sense of what SAETA is trying to set up for, because they've been taking out Mathilda, Atlas, and Glue. Three, I'd say, very annoying roamers in the sense that they just really provide stability for your team. But what is the prio if they just don't want to go up against these kinds of heroes? Like, I mean, the likes of the Freyas and the Paquitos are there definitely, but you might not want to really see them first pick now that the Esmeralda's been buffed up really well. So I think we're going to maybe shift a bit back to seeing more jungle gold prios, because we did mention the Juicin. It's also probably going to depend on these teams if they still feel very comfortable into prioritizing the mid lane picks.
Yeah, and on that note, we do still see the Baxi being banned out, Bri.
Okay.
Okay, so we talked about the Hirara coming to the wild cards. I think it was a very huge and heated debate. Is Hirara good? Is Hirara bad? Is she viable in the meta? Is she okay for top-notch professional play?
Yeah.
A lot of players argue differently, but we did see an okay win rate from Hirara. I think in the later stages, I think the teams got a lot more accustomed towards the Hirara, and the fact that we do see the changes towards the battlefield, easier to farm, and so on and so forth. We do see the potential of the Hirara.
Okay, and more so now that I think you really want to just take a look at the assassin junglers a bit more because of the changes in the patch, then I think Hirara, compared to it becoming a 50-50 pick, feels a bit more reliable. Now, Team Falcons Indonesia though, these are really tanky first two picks that they've decided to go for. It's a Phoveus and the Belleric, which really makes me think of, does SAETA just really want to counter them immediately on, or do they just want to go for the safer priorities on their carries and reveal what their lineup will really revolve around? Because the bans are just really interesting to see. Like, you don't really get to see what the plan is from the bans.
I think right now they definitely cannot rely on the Hirara. So the carry does come through, and the Yves. So we have a double secondary carries here. Yves going to be a very strong laner considering the nerfs to the Jushin. Carry also one of the answers towards the beefy guys in the front, like you mentioned, from the first two picks. And the Falcons ID drafted in a way, especially first two, that they really want to counter this Hirara, right?
Yeah.
Very difficult for her to dash in of these team fights and get out alive, and that's exactly what the Belleric has to offer, and so does the Phoveus on the side lanes. But the question is now, how do they want to close things off? What is that third pick? Do they want to go for a counter pick in the jungle?
Yeah, and what is their damage source? Like, what is one of their damage sources gonna be? So now we get an answer. It is gonna be the Gourd. Although it is gonna go up against a Hirara, we do see like the synergy that can come into play. It's a Belleric and a Gourd, so you can just be constantly annoying in the mid, just spamming the taunts, and there will be very reliable follow-up and poke damage that can come into play if you take a look at their mid duo. Because I think that's something we're yet to see from SAETA. Like, what is going to be paired up with the Eve? What is going to really change the course of their mid rotation so far? Because the fact that you don't know what kind of jungler Falcons ID is going to go for yet, it kind of feels 50-50 to just go for a heavy invade type. But there is a high chance that they go for an assassin or a damage jungler if they already have these two beefy guys in their lineup so far.
That's why, but I think they need someone to kind of speed up the process about the mid-rotation, right? I'm really worried with Hirara being on the other side, the fact that she's going to be able to roam quicker, be able to invade into the enemy jungle a lot quicker, which is why I was actually still thinking about the Fredrin. So the Fredrin does get taken out here. I think it's a good call by SAETA. And by the way, the buffs to Esmeralda gets banned straight.
Yeah, I was really thinking that it could have been a great option for SAETA
Against Phoveus.
but they did not decide to go for it just yet. They prioritized the Eve and the carry instead. So we're seeing a setup on the box for SAETA, at least for now. Most probably is going to be a team fight approach that they really want to take heading into this game. And speaking of team fight, they even take out the Minotaur. This is something I wouldn't really expect to come in, but there probably has been some information for Team Falcons that it could have been a specialty for Raymond, or for, Miss on the roam. And if you think about it, I think it pairs up really well with the AoE that SAETA have actually established so far in the Eve.
Makes sense. We're waiting on the final ban now coming from SAETA. They're starting to really limit down this jungle, and that's why I was thinking that they might want to go for a jungle in third, but it turns out they prioritize the Gord instead. The Harith gets taken out, establishing the fact that they want the carry to have a more comfortable laning phase. But of course, the Claude is still open, but they go for the Moskov instead. So a little bit more map control around the side lanes, something that they could definitely work with. You were asking about what kind of carries that they were thinking about, and we do see that the Moskov comes through.
Yeah, so it is down to the jungle option left for Team Falcons ID, but SAETA, on the other hand, we're yet to see their roam XP. And I think these are going to be two very crucial anchors if we're talking team fight. If SAETA really wants to go all in on team fights, then what are going to be their tempo setters for their XP and roam picks? Because I believe there are a bunch of options still out there. If they're looking at AoE or pickoffs, I think some of the more common picks previously were the Cho. I was supposed to say Gatot Kacha if we're talking AoE, but I didn't expect it to come out because it has been out of the meta for quite some time now. And you just add on more layers of that AoE. So just look at this lineup, this team fight lineup that SAETA have established for game number 1.
And they definitely have answers towards the backline, right? Moskov, backline, Gord, heavily backline, and they have the Gatot Kacha with the AOG to kind of disrupt that front line, especially we're seeing and considering, the Phoveus and the Bellaric that will be a huge factor when it comes down to the team fights. They also have the Alice to get to the backline. So it feels like it has been answered. I just don't know what Team Falcons should prioritize in the jungle here.
Yeah, there's so many options if you want to fight them head to head with an assassin, but
I mean, Nolan was buffed. Do they want to go head to head? Oh, they go Suyo.
Okay, yeah. Suyo did show up quite sometimes. Even in Wildcard, I think it's never been really out in terms of the meta. But so far, looking at the compositions, I think so much is really going to boil down onto team fight. Even looking at Team Falcons ID, I think a lot of this is going to revolve around their team fighting prowess and capability. Apart from the fact that they do have a Moskov on their side, but that's really going to likely be the name of the game.
Well, now that they're obviously chosen, from what I'm getting, SAETA Esports maybe taking a little bit of a different approach versus Falcons Indonesia. Mentioning it obviously for the macro mechanics for SAETA Esports, they're solid, and they did come in created specifically for MWI. And I'm thinking the Hirara pick is going to make a big impact, obviously, for the side of SAETA Esports. Getting that buff recently, we think that's going to be a prio pick. It was instantly. You got to play around it and adjust accordingly. Falcons Indonesia are going to have to fight hard going into match number 1.
Here we go. Thank you so much to the panel. We're here. It's me, Mirko, and Athena to bring you game number 1. Into the land of Dawn we go for the opening match of MWI EWC 2026. We get a quick look at the emblems here, straight up. It's kind of crazy that they went for the Hirara, the Yeve, and the carry straight up. SAETA, they just put put everything on the board, no hidden cards coming into the second phase.
And that's the thing, SAETA is actually known to adjust their composition quite well. Depends on who they're up against with. And with Falcons back here for MWI 2026, we're kind of seeing a different assembled version of them by missing out some of the few seasons a while back. But now they're back for vengeance. And looking at the draft, Eterna and Brigida had discussed that they want to go head-to-head, especially on the jungle. You mentioned the Hirara. Now we got the Suyu back on top here for the Manda or Sev.
I don't know about the matchup, dude. The Suyo has really gone down in stocks in the last patch after the big nerfs on skill 2, some of those cooldowns as well. But the Hirara, on the other hand, has been finding a lot of success even in the utility meta and wildcards that we saw. Just a few fights here and there. Fanwa.
Okay, Raimundo will immediately fall down. It's a great answer here for SAETA. Setting the tone, immediate takedown onto the roam. Seva trying to go for the pickoff. Will there be a trade? Yes, indeed. Joe with a kill immediately onto Zeb. Now it reflects the nerf onto that Suyo.
We questioned it and it's instantly answered. Guy. Great laning phase so far against Liv, but the Suyo, that clearing speed definitely took a hit. And for Zoe on the Hirara, it's just been fantastic. Free turtle with all the setup they've been given, with mid-prio as well. I think that's one of the main things about the Belleric. You really gotta wait for level 4 before you're actually useful, when you could see with Fanhua and the Gatakacha, it's just playing 1 to 3, getting the prio, and then utilizing and revitalizing that brutal sustain.
And that's exactly SAETA went for. They didn't even wait for Raimundo to get that ultimate, just taking advantage of the early game here. Meanwhile, transitioning onto the top lane, we could definitely see the rise of the Eve yet again. With a box type of composition here for SAETA, they wouldn't have any problem at all in just disengaging or actually initiating types within their framework. And now, Fanwa onto the top lane. There's gonna be some kind of vision here for Falcons. That's why they will not resort onto any pickups yet.
And it gets really tough now as we get into the mid game for Falcon ID. They still have a very good team fighting composition, but it all relies on whether or not they can be free around Violet Sev. An attempt at the bottom lane.
That's a 3-woman setup here, but Jessica 6'6", just chilling around here. Definitely not worth her time yet. So they just want to somehow focus on Zoe farming up as much as they can. And so far, there was some kind of question for a set of division if they can withstand fast-paced tempo disruptors. But looking at the early facing, looks like they got this one on the back.
Does look like that's the case. SAETA's composition scales really well as well. We're talking about just pure damage output around these team fights. Falcon ID, on the other hand, they're really going to have to rely on the Suyo and the Moskov to try to play these side lanes, build on that macro advantage, and then try to split SAETA up, because it really looks like as long as SAETA stick together, they get tempo around the map with Zoe and Jessica, they should just be able to build a solid box to play around, and that's exactly what both teams want to play around this time.
Yep.
On to Turtle 2. It's a box for SAETA. It's up to Falcons to break it.
Okay, Falcons immediately goes in with a taunt here. Violet on the other hand, going for the follow-up. Jessica 6'6" onto the back, targeting Liv and Livy as well. Livy falling down. But on the front lane, just dishing out those damages. There's going to be a chase here. Fanwa, good free hits for Guy. There's going to be the Dark Wave, but it isn't enough yet. There's going to be a 3-woman here and an immediate takedown onto Violet. Most of the kills onto the side of SAETA.
Falcon got the tempo, but they couldn't get more than just a neutral objective. The team fighting we were talking about, Jessica, what a set with a throw and a ruin combo together with the AOG, and they can't look for anything on the map. SAETA on the other side though, Guy and Fanhua here just waiting in the bush. Violet's in for a rough awakening if he just walks up into this turret. I think it's just going to be a free turret for SAETA.
Definitely. Falcons right now, they can't risk another sudden death like that. Looking at the SAETA way here, they just want to be the one to set the tempos. Falcon ID just isn't giving any objections at it, and SAETA Division is mostly the one setting up most of the team fights. If it doesn't matter to them, they just go around and go farm help as much as they can.
Equipment check. The cursed helmet for the first item from Mrs. Jessica. 1v1 for both the assassins. Zev takes the Safe route. Gets away in time. Liv playing this weak side. Everybody corralling into the bottom lane, trying to get Guy in the turret.
Okay, there's always Jessica onto the front line, so Falcons ID can't do nothing about it. They don't have the skill set yet and the arsenals to totally disrupt Jessica in the process. But as you mentioned, you already have the Skypiercer for Sev. They have to get those numbers rolling if they want to somehow contest neutral objectives. And speaking of which, in less than 10 seconds, there's going to be one, and SAETA already has their eyes on this one.
It's just such great adaptations, such quick adaptations from SAETA. They noticed how slow they were to actually walk up and get these positions earlier. Everything all into Jessica.
That's a very nice missing gusher for Livy in a soul with a flicker in. Final of the killing spree. Caught off guard yet again. Jungler, looks like it's going to be a backfire onto Falcon. Tracing down onto the backlane. Zhao onto Raimundo. They're going their own way. Violet falling down as well. Livy onto Zhao. Looks like there's going to be an easy kill for her. Or not, might be. Going for the tower lock or tower hug here, but SAETA Division still came up on top on that clash.
Falcons try to all in on the main frontliner. Jessica just took it like a champ, and everybody else went in for the re-engage. Now it's Liv caught all alone by Name.
Okay, there's one to avoid Crystal. Okay, that's a sandwich meta. Liv forced to go out of her way just to escape SAETA Division. 3K gold lead. Things are not looking good right now for Falcons ID.
No, they were really just looking for a trade there around the fights in the bottom lane. Now Doe might go for the 1v1 again if Sev uses that first skill. No, just a soul sever.
Okay, it's going to be Karasu. Trying to dash his way out. Go with a chase. Looks like they go in for the discipline yet because there's another neutral objective being targeted. A very smooth transition here for SAETA Division. All neutral objective most of the time goes onto the hand of Joe.
Oh, Name. Another big weakness for the Suyo is these long-range mages in mid. They can just burst him down. No magic damage reduction anymore on the kit. It's been nerfed quite a while ago.
Yep.
And like you mentioned, it's all really about the transition. SAETA, they've transitioned so well. Converted on every objective. Again, they see Falcons up top. They go straight into the bottom lane. And Raimundo is just so confused, frustrated. They don't know where to look. They go up top. They try to match some of the rotations from SAETA, and Zoe is just split pushing down below on this Hirara, and there's nobody who can match this 1v1 presence, not even Sev on the Suyo.
They couldn't even maximize the Moskov thing here for Falcons ID because SAETA Division is just all over the map. Conceal play here. Raimundo yet again caught here with a flicker. And Rad of Dryad. There's going to be two members here for SAETA Division caught on the crossfire. Fanwa with an AOG. Violet going in for the further pursuit. Still going down. A very nice box here for Name and Falcons ID. Even with great initiations, great targeting, it just isn't giving any damage yet against SAETA.
It's crazy to say, but it just feels like SAETA are just better. Falcons have had no answer to anything. The only time we've seen a proactive move has been Liv trying to get a turret up top. That's about it. Everything else, pace set by SAETA, and you can see in the goal difference here, it is all almost across the board, a 1,000 goal lead. So it is the 1v1s that are just constantly going to SAETA. And for Toe, it's that immobilization. The fact that it's just so difficult to catch anyone from SAETA. I had my doubts early on when they revealed all of their damage dealers in the first 3 picks, but then the way that they were able to adapt to it, picking up these 2 beefy frontliners and the Gatakacha and Alice, getting that combo in together as well. It has really confused Falcons now, especially as Guy finishes off her DHS. That is the 3-item power spike we were, well, should be looking forward to. I don't think Falcons are actually looking forward to that too much. It's just free. There's no way for them to even walk out of their own base. It's just Liv who can do a little bit of that. Just clears it out though. Can't go for any trades.
It's not enough for Liv to just go on about her day, clear off the last bits of minion wave on the long lane here against SAETA Division. But also we have to consider the fact that the crowd control mostly will come from Raimundo or Violet. Additional crowd control might get from the Mystic Projectile here for Livid, but still isn't enough because the moment they approach, they're easily torn down here by SAETA Division. They just don't have that range yet. Damage isn't there for Livy. I just saw her build up the Croatian side, but that's it. Now SAETA Division has the Lord. Totally maxes out the outer and inner turrets here for Falcons ID. Now they're left to defend down to their last base turrets here onto their base.
They do have okay clear. Still have a Gord and a Moskov in their lineup. But SAETA's got really good siege with Jessica.
Conceal again?
On the Alice, yep. The conceal. Guy's looking for the shot to the turret. Name just looking for an angle to get an RWM to zone Falcons away from this turret. Now Baser down below, targeted by SAETA.
Oh, another drone of ruin! 3 members gone here for Team Falcons ID. But a follow here for Fonblock. Jessica 6-6 still on the Crimson Gleam, but trying to run away. Seth going down. Livy with an answer called. That's 1-for-1 trade up. They're not backing away just yet. Still for SAETA Division, I think that was a very fruitful initiation, even though it cost Jessica 6-6 her life.
Yeah, no bounties on Jessica. All good as long as they're able to get those chip damage over onto the turrets. It's very low down below. It would have been even better if SAETA were able to take that down. But hey, a win's a win right now. You'll lose your frontliner for the price of Zev, who now will lose a lot more time to try to look for farm. Heck, Liv is being given over the orange buff. So this level lead is going to be still a problem as we get into the next Lord for Falcon ID. Zev is going to have to just try to out-retry, predict those retry battles coming in from zone.
Yep, because most of the time for Falcons ID, the issue is that for the earlier parts of the game, they weren't even able to farm up as much as they can. And from their coach, they quoted that they just have to go farm, then go kill. They can't even do the step 1. So for right now, it's too scattered here for Team Falcons ID. SAETA Division really found the right weakest link here for Team Falcons, which is to somehow get and disrupt the whole jungling pattern here for Sev. Just going ninja here, trying to get her own purple buff while all of them are still busy. But now for Team Falcons ID, there is just so much to catch up to. Gold lead, kill lead, and as well as the map control overall.
Chev's doing a good job, yeah, just staying out of vision, finding these holes in the map game that SAETA have conquered to try to get some farm. And what a story this will be for our opening match. One of the titans of MWI from Indonesia. Usually when we look at the women, it's the Indonesian teams who've had the craziest records. But now it's SAETA, proven to the world right now that they can go toe-to-toe. Heck, they can actually even just be better. Name, poking Violet down. Mid-prio for Liv.
Okay, they have to watch out here for Guy. Mr. Gush is ready. Jessica 6-6 with a stopper of the Throne of Ruin. Livy falling down. Joe getting busy here. Liv will slowly back away. Kill spree for Guy. Joe onto Liv with those damages. With Jessica 6-6 onto the front line. A Crimson Gleam out. Livy as well here will go livid. Zev can do nothing but stare back. SAETA Division still got the lead. Joe was the survival instinct mode there, but still they want to go up against their base turrets here, trying to finish up the round as fast as they can. Guy with a mega kill. Now they're locking their eyes onto the tower, and it looks like this is it. SAETA Division takes game number 1.
A shocker of a win. Could be an upset on our first match at MWI EWC 2026. What a way to start things here. SAETA 1-0 up against Falcons ID. Oh my goodness.
Imagine doing that on your debut against Indonesia's finest. That is how you set the bar high here on MWI.
Again, we've known the powerhouses here at MWI for the last 2 years. It's been the Southeast Asian teams, but now SAETA, they might be the ones to shock everybody, just like a lot of teams did at MWI 2025. A whole game away from declaring themselves here in an international stage at MWI. What a performance. It was just fantastic.